Okay, I'll entertain a motion to open today's meeting.
Motion.
Motion from Dan.
Second?
Second, Ms. Valley. Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And Mr. Hutchins, a yes, it's unanimous. Want to welcome everyone to today's Rockland Board of Sewer Commissioners working session meeting on October 6, 2022. Again, the public is welcome to attend. Votes to be taken. This meeting is being recorded to be played back later on WRPS. And with that, we'll open the meeting. Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes from the last working session Sherry put out? Dan, you did? I'll take a motion to accept the minutes.
Yes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I'll second that. Mr. DeRoss?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
Betty, you vote them. And Mr. Hutchins, a yes. Robin, I'll get you a copy of those minutes.
Thank you.
With that, we'll open the floor up to Robin.
All right, so I've been trying to keep track of all the things that come in. One of them is the task order. It referenced exhibits, and I think you were gonna see if they were included to the task order, because I
Yes.
don't think they were in the original contract.
Okay, then I will get copies of them because I'm meeting with them up on the phone later on today.
Okay, and the other is the original contract with Suez at the time, now Veolia, had all three commissioners, the town accountant, legal counsel on it. So I'm not sure about the validity of that without those other signatures. And I wasn't privy to your conversation, so I'm not sure.
Of with Veolia?
Yeah, the task order,
Okay, I don't know. I will check with Chris Kenny.
just because I just don't want to get into a
No,
bill if
no.
we start something and it's
I'm
not
glad you mentioned that.
executed properly.
Okay, does it require 3 signatures?
And also, usually anything that includes funding,
Town
which
accountant?
I assume it does, yeah. And I think maybe the town administrator, I'm not sure, signed that original contract, do you remember? I know legal signed off on it.
It was legal and the commissioners.
And accounting.
Yes, it wasn't Elizabeth at the time, I forget who it was.
Was it Eric Hart?
Yes.
Okay. So I just,
Yep, I'll check on that with Chris today.
all right.
And copies of the task, copies of the reference.
Yeah, because it references exhibits, but I don't think those were part of the original contract. It makes it seem like they were exhibits to the task order.
Okay, I will get a copy of those.
All right, so I had a correspondence from Paul Ryan at Environmental Partners, and he's originally sent it to David Taylor. He copied the sewer. I forwarded it to you commissioners on October 5th.
Yep,
He's reviewing the IPP and he has a few questions.
I got that email today, yes.
Yeah, do you know who's gonna respond to that?
I'll respond to that for now and I'll work with Rick on that. But I have pretty much, I know what he needs. I just opened that a little while ago. Environmental partners. And I'll CC you on that, so you have that correspondence for your
All right,
records.
thank you so much, I appreciate that. So I received a letter from ITW Polymer Sealants of North America. That's the company that traded hands, and they have an IPP permit. So the gentleman that I was dealing with that would not give up the name of the company was an attorney. I tried to send him the application a lot of different ways, and he just didn't seem to be able to get it through whatever service he was using. But now that we know the new company, which is HOLCIM, I'm assuming that's Holcomb Solutions and Products, they've sent a letter that the sale will not have any effect on the nature of business at the facility. Under the new ownership, the facility processes will remain the same. There are no planned process changes at this time. Should a process change occur, the facility will notify the Rockland Sewer Department in a timely manner. And it goes on in that same vein, but I'm thinking I should send them the new application since we now know who
I would
they are.
send them the new application, and what I would also suggest is that you send a copy of that letter, just as an FYI only, to Chris Kenny.
If they're not changing the process, and they say that they're going to notify us, the application itself has those parameters that if they change the process, they have to notify us. So my feeling is I should give them the new application.
I agree with you completely on that.
Okay,
But what I would also do, like I said, just for now, CC Chris on that, just so he's
on
aware.
this letter?
Yeah,
Oh,
and just say, you know, just a heads up, you know.
all right. And I will copy the board.
Okay, thank you. And you're gonna send on the, okay, for application.
All right. I received a voicemail from Stenbeck and Taylor. The gentleman's name is Brian. He's looking for status on the moratorium.
Okay,
And
right.
I'm not sure what you want me to
Right now, the
respond to
status-
those inquiries.
I'll respond to his inquiries if you have his number.
Right, but I get calls like that all the time and I
Okay,
need to know
the
what to say.
moratorium is still in effect, pending a DEP order that we remove 67,500 gallons of I&I. Once that is removed, right now, we have one person on a waiting list to connect, be 320. And after they remove their I&I, we may have more flow available after, we may have excess flow available for connection after the 67,000 come out. Once we get that November submittal, I think we're gonna be working on fees and modifying that moratorium to fit the EPA order. Because once we get that out, I wanna start issuing some permits to get some revenue in here.
All right, so here's the Primrose letter. So Chuck penned a letter, I'm not sure if you're aware, about the refund to Primrose. But when the vote was rescinded and then the meeting was put on hold, I was holding that $10,000 check. I deposited that check.
Okay.
So I believe, well, I don't know, it's
Oh,
up to
okay.
you guys. Do you want me to, are we returning the $10,000
Yes.
check?
Yes.
Yes,
Did you get my email on the, I mentioned the motion at your
I did,
recommendation?
and it's
Oh,
in
okay.
here, but I don't wanna have you sign it. I want to
Okay.
update it with the 10,000 because
Okay.
that was deposited.
Okay.
Because I just couldn't sit on it that long.
No.
that's fine, yep,
All right, so I will
Sure, I'm gonna
modify,
bother you how you wanna handle
yep,
that.
yep, that's fine,
I'll modify the letter this morning.
right. And then I believe the request goes to the town accountant from Robin.
Right.
Right, yeah, I have it goes on the warrant, actually. Okay, so this is the Form K that I forwarded to you, and I see that Chuck put some language on there.
Mhm.
We would like to see a sewer clean out on the proposed addition.
I didn't see it on the print,
It wasn't on there?
no.
Is this a new construction?
It's a proposed addition to an existing building. He has one clean out on the old, but where that's running as a diagonal, if he's gonna open up the line, might as well put a clean out there.
So on the plan, is the addition going over the current lateral? Is that why they have to
No,
access it?
no, I just figured we'd need another lateral coming out.
I'm sorry. We usually don't respond in that manner, that was why I asked.
I didn't know
I have some other language that I'll
See, his
share with
clean
you.
out is up here, right there.
Yeah,
What I wanted to see was one here at the addition, because they're putting facilities in there.
and so is he having one that sweeps towards the addition and one that sweeps toward the street?
I didn't see it.
Right, but he has to have two then. If he's
Right.
adding one here, then he has to add another one.
Okay, I see that one, you wanna put, then, so he has to add one down here then?
Yeah. So
Okay,
you have,
or
when
that.
you have the two cleanouts, you have one that goes towards the street and one that goes towards the home.
Okay, so he's gonna have to add two then, one there.
All right. Add two. All right, and that, you'll probably touch base with the drain layer when he comes in.
Okay.
But the typical language that we put on the Form K doesn't instruct them to do that. What it does
Okay, I'll
is-
modify that. If you have a blank, what I'll do is I'll do it the way you
I
want
thought I
it.
had a blank.
Hmm?
I thought I had a blank. Here it is.
Oh, Robert,
Yeah.
Sherry's gonna.
So it says the initial review of the plans meets the requirements established by the sewer commission. The applicant will need to appear before the Rockland Sewer Commission to explain the project in detail, review the plans in depth, answer any questions, determine fees, and fill out an application for approval. That is when you would talk to them about the clean out
Okay.
and any other things that come up.
Well, can I get a copy of this?
Yeah.
And I'll do that to this for you.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
All right, so I will add that language to this.
Okay,
And then I'll do that today too, so you can have a chance to sign
okay,
it.
I'm gonna be around all week, tomorrow, so if you need me. Oh, wait a minute, Monday's a holiday.
Yes.
It is, and they put down Monday, October 7th, but actually
Yeah.
October 7th is tomorrow.
Right.
Oh,
So I'll take care of that today.
thanks, Robin.
All right, and then this is 223
Is this
Central
kinda
Street.
fast for the holiday, is it?
Every day's Saturday to me.
No,
Oh, okay, no, I'm sorry, I didn't even know.
Every day's a holiday.
So the drain,
tired.
so 223 Central Street was also adding an addition, and I wrote myself a note. I got a copy of the specs. Oh, he came back.
Yep. Oh, after I talked to him?
He did. I think you spoke to the homeowner and you gave her a list of parameters.
Oh, right, and he came in when I signed
And
the
you
permit.
signed it. anytime you do that, I need a copy of that, because it has to go in the file for the
Okay.
address. I
Okay,
got a copy from him.
okay, thank you, sorry.
Yeah, anything that we do with any address, it goes in the file. We have, all the files are by address, because homeowners, they'll change, so. Anything that correspondence on the property has to go in there.
Okay, what I'm gonna do to be safe, then, anything I sign, I'm gonna give you a copy of it.
Okay, yep. So the gentleman, I'll wait for you to be ready, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The gentleman at 72 Josh Gray Road, he's the one that asked for a
Right.
clean out and didn't get one. I didn't get whatever the resolution was on that.
That, he met the plumbing code. If he wants to go back, as far as I'm concerned, it's gonna have to be on his nickel. He was over the, according to Mark, is it Mark?
Moran?
Mark Moran, he told him everything was fine, he and his wife were both there. The hole was open at the time, if he had a question on the clean out, that should have been the time. He
Okay,
said it
so
was fine,
did
and
you
it is
speak
the
to the
code.
homeowner himself?
No, I've
Okay,
placed
so-
2 calls to him, and no one's returned my call.
So the issue is, the homeowner is claiming that when the ground was open, he asked for a clean out. Our sewer ordinance requires at least 1 clean out. Recently, we've been asking for 2 clean outs, one towards the street, one towards the home. He claims to have asked Mark Moran for that, and Mark Moran said, "You're all set, the town doesn't require it." If he did say that, that's not true.
Right.
Because it's in our sewer moratorium, and the fact remains that the ground got sealed up with no clean out, so Mark Moran didn't meet our objective that we
Okay.
have in our moratorium, in our ordinance.
Okay, so I wanna hear from Mr. King, I will reach out to him again, if not, I'll go knock on his door.
All right.
That's 72, right?
It
What's
is.
his first name, Alex?
Alex. And you already have his phone number?
Yep. In fact, I'll swing by today, see if he's in on my way home.
All right. Ooh, look at that, I'm at the end of my list. That was lengthy.
You forgot to add that you won the golf tournament.
Oh gosh, not by my own skill set. It was a group thing and it was best ball. All
We
right,
have a
so,
half-ball star and a pending golfing.
oh yeah, and I went to a half-ball tournament too. Remember that from the
Did you ever
city?
play a half-ball when you were a kid? You guys?
Ball with
Cut the pickleball in half with a broomstick.
we use the tennis ball.
No, we always use a pickleball.
All right, so
Thank you.
I'll take care of those 2 things so you can sign them before you leave today.
Yep, we'll do.
Alright.
And I'll
Thank
get
you.
hold of Mr. King. With that, we're gonna move to the Veolia project update, and I wanna read that into the records. Okay, this is Weston Sampson. I received an update from Mike Burke and John Ayotte. This reporting table has been revised to include Veolia point of contact persons, project manager responsibilities, task order, and a to-do column. Please let me know if you'd like further updates to define our responsibilities. In summary, here's a brief overview of each project. The CWMP from Wright Pierce, phase 1 is complete. Phase 2, Wright Pierce is having this completed by the end of October. Phase 3 will follow the expected completion date in March of 2023. Once the phase 1 is open and reviewed for the public. It's already been at the library, town hall, and here. I've heard no one from the public requesting any questions, and nothing's been said at the meetings. So I was gonna have an open meeting for that, but there's no interest. I'll bring it up again in October. The SSO compliance. Wright Pierce completed this July of 2022. Board of Sewer Commissioners to implement changes to their web form, the notification plan. That's gonna be in, that's why Wright Pierce has been. SSE study, AECOM completed this, the project is closed. SS construction docks, Weston Sampson is working on bid specs for, to remove that I&I. Board of Commissioners will review and oversee this. Veolia is to roll out execution once approved and contract awarded. With that said, I'll be going into that with Weston Sampson. Weston Sampson gave us a spec to follow up on the I&I plan itself. I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I?
Yeah, are we talking
Yes,
about the
this
control
is on
plan,
the,
or this is the bid specs?
Yeah, this is the bid spec. Okay, you're preparing that. Now, what they have suggested, and here's where it is that we have. The I&I spec for the rehab is to go out to bid no later than October 14th. And this is my question to him. I said, if you need more time, we need to know ASAP. His response is, this is Weston Sampson, we will need more time for the final documents. However, we are on schedule to provide a complete draft of contract document to the town and EPA for review no later than October 14th. We suggest requesting a 1-month extension to allow for comments and time to address them. Our goal is to advertise this project in the Central Register in November. I spoke with Frank Archipinto, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Say, that's a good one.
This morning, it's a beaut, from Wright Pierce, Weston Sampson this morning. And he reiterated that he thinks that we should ask the EPA for an extension on the October 14th date to November 30th. That's just giving us time to some breathing room. I have no problem with that. With the mix-up that occurred when we initially started, we approached everyone in April to have this stuff ready in July. We didn't get it in July. So to me, that pushed everything 4 months out backwards. So I think that is a reasonable request. I'm gonna send a letter to Chris Kenny, and I'll CC the both of you. And that, to me, is not, that October 14th is not on their order. That was in the submission by Clifford and Kenny attorneys without notifying us. So
So walk me through. They'll have a draft document ready by October 14th.
right, I'm gonna say they will have a draft document ready for October 14th. Now, what that draft is, it's gonna be a very technical document. It's gonna be a lot to it. We're gonna have to look at it. They will have plans. We look at it, and what I'm gonna ask them to do is come in and speak with us on those, and they should have preliminary plans by next week
Okay,
that they can go over with us. So we're all on the same page.
okay,
The options we have for that is to do it in an open public meeting. We could do it at our working session next week. Again, that's open to the public. But we will not take any questions from the public. What I asked him to do, if he does come in, to put it up on the screen so he could put everything up there, we could look at it. My feeling, personal feeling, is that this is a very, very important step. I don't want to miss anything personally, and I don't want to cut you guys out of the loop. So I think the only hang-up is how you feel about doing it in an open forum. I see there is nothing to hide there. I think doing an open forum is beneficial to us for the resident wants to see that we are doing full disclosure in this, we're not doing any backdoor. And again, my big concern is that I am one set of eyes, one set of ears. I've got a lot going on and I don't want to miss anything. And I think it would behoove us to have them in at an open meeting. He said his availability will be next Thursday at 2:00. We have a meeting that night, but I think it's very important. I really do. So I'm gonna
Next
leave that up to
Thursday
you.
at 2:00.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys if you can meet, if you wanna do it in an open meeting.
No problem.
So I don't see any problem because everything in this spec doc is gonna go out to all these companies anyway.
Right.
So,
But anybody can come to this meeting and, you know, they can't ask questions, but I would just as soon be full disclosure in, I don't wanna be accused of doing anything backdoor or agreeing to something that I'm not comfortable agreeing to
I don't see any
anything
problem.
anyway without you guys being aware of it.
my only concern is I'm not a fan of asking for an extension. So if you could walk me through the rest of the process, like once
Okay,
next week we do the.
what this, let me
review.
read it to you, so we have it verbatim. This was on the submittal by Clifford and Kenny, to meet the deadlines. The I&I plan identified 219,000 gallons of I&I that could be removed in a cost-effective manner for 809,000. In order to implement the work as required, the town intends to take the following steps. 1, plan to schedule and implement the work as described in the summary of 2021. I&I of the 67,500 gallons identified. I want to get back to that, okay? We have received a proposal to prepare rehab design and plans, which is what Weston Sampson's doing. Part of the proposal will include office services, watching, overseeing it. Now, here it's in page 2. Okay, page 2 is funding of this I&I will be secured through connection fees with developers, grants, what have you. It is expected, there's the key word, it is expected that the construction bids for this work will go out no later than October 14th.
Okay.
Now, my feeling is all I have to do is send a letter or an email to Dave Turner and say, look, I said, well, I know we have that. We're actively working on it. I could show him this email that I received from Weston Sampson to prove we're working on it. I will CC Chris Kenny in that and say this date may slip into October, but we want you to know that we are aggressively working on it. It's, to me, it's not an extension
Right,
of the order. It is an extension of our plan,
right,
which we are control of our plan.
okay.
We are not deviating.
So then we would need to have I'd like to have that draft by that date with a new expected date to send it.
Right, we will. That we'll be able to do that, but right now I've got to notify him that we will be holding a meeting with Weston Sampson on the 20th to go over the draft. I mean, I don't think they can't follow. They will not say no.
Okay.
They will not say no. But what I want to do is I want to keep everyone in the loop as far as where we're standing on that. So that's where that one is. The only other thing I want to look at is Viola's going to roll out the extension. If we're going to do it, I have a quote for Weston Sampson to oversee the entire project from start to finish. But they just came out with this yesterday. I asked them, I said, put everything in writing.
Is this the control plan?
Huh?
I'm sorry, this is the control?
This is the
no,
rehab,
I'm
the
still-
rehab construction services.
Yep.
Right now, they're working on a scope of work to prepare the bid, to go out to, prepare the document to go out to bid for the physical work. All right, that's where their responsibility ends. They are not bidding on the work, which I'll read you that shortly. What they've issued, if they wanted, they gave us a contract. Now that we have an open meeting, I can send you each a copy. That they will oversee all the services, make sure everyone's doing everything to par, rather than having, they're saying rather than Veolia than them, and what, they are basically guaranteeing their work. for a year. And it will be for an additional $49,000.
Okay.
But I shall send you a copy of this to read. This we will discuss with him at that meeting next week. Okay. The camera work and flow monitoring assessment in designated areas, ACOM submitted a proposal bid spec. That project is closed. We didn't do that. The rate study. Western Sampson is preparing a rate study, waiting on info from the Board of Commissioners. That information is all capital work for a 5-year project. I gotta work on that with Rick. I don't know what David put together on it. That should be discussed and relayed to Weston Sampson. Rick and I have got plans to sit down and talk about that. The I&I control plan. Weston Sampson is preparing that. Executed completion date is 2023. That's their plan. And so far we have that. This work includes a probability model component. Now that plan is also to ensure and install metering meters and that flow meters and do some test wells. The IPP program assessment, see, they left a message with environmental partners waiting on a callback. I got a text from environmental, well, the email went to Dave, I just got CC'd on it. So I got a call, a gentleman named Paul there today to find out what's going on there. Management assessment grant, that's also with environmental that they need some information, waiting on a callback for that. Gas piping, Rick is gonna give them that, the design. Installation of additional gas pipe, Rick is gonna give that. Again, this is all from Veolia. The EPA semi-annual report being drafted. They need information from the Board of Sewer Commissioners, namely the actions taken with the town for the sewer moratorium. I'm detailing that now. Basically nothing until the moratorium is on hold, and I'm going to make mention that we will be reviewing the moratorium and fee structure after November to modify the moratorium around the order. This detailed description of actions taken in the last 6 months to address requirements of the order. We've authorized the rate study, we've authorized the CWMP, we've authorized the bid for the I&I removal based on the 21, we're getting ready to release that. Says town council approval on the I&I removal. They don't need approval, they just need to be notified. So again, I am very confident we're gonna meet all the requirements for the November 30th submittal. If anything, we're gonna be ahead of the game. As far as requests they have, they need the GIS data and the shape files for the sanitary system. Rick is taking care of that. In response to the April 29th, 2021 request for information action and that, they want a copy of that. Okay, I can get that, I have that. No, I don't, because that was submitted by Keith Nastasia and we did not know about that. I'll have to look into that. Because that goes back into the former superintendent. One of the last things I asked him was that any submittal on the request for information I wanted to see, because the RFI was in my name. And he took exception to that, removed a lot of the documentation that I had originally pulled to go in. Subsequently, he had to do 6 more submittals. And so I have no idea what he submitted, and I will look into that.
Who's that, Keith?
Keith.
Your company?
Okay, that was for Viola Project Manager update. Now, as far as the project manager costs and fees, where I'm looking at probably taking them out of is the sewer department's sewer superintendent's salary fees, till we offset that. I mean, we got a surplus in that. We can just keep an eye on that. I haven't seen any billings for that yet. Digester, Rick is asked to come in later. Then did we receive a copy of a NIPD's permit update that came to Rick, also went to the town manager, which I don't understand, but Rick can include us in that. EPA order, we discussed
So
this.
can you stay on the NIPD's for a minute? So
Yes.
can you explain that a little bit more? Is that a change from the other document that we have?
I don't think there's any changes on it. I saw something about a lab requirement. That is also, for everyone to know, this facility operates under the license of our contract operator, Veolia, and the holder of that license is Rick Katush. He's our project manager here. So those NIPD's permit requirements go to him, and that's why I asked Rick to give us an update. He'd be better up to give us than that. I went into briefly the Weston Sampson contract submittal. I also want to read something that they proposed. I had a phone call with him yesterday. My biggest fear was, not a fear, but my concern was that a lot of the I&I that we're gonna find in town, you're gonna find attached to the laterals that connect to the service mains. The laterals are the financial responsibility of the property owners, the homeowners.
But
That
come off the main, right? Right there.
that goes to the main to the house.
Yes, but how about, the main's in the middle of the street.
Right.
Okay, when they did mine, they came on 10 feet onto my property.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's what it is. But the homeowner owns the lateral to the connection. The connection's on your property. So, one of the things I had done some reading and found was that they have this, for lack of a better term, a grouting process. That they inject. I wrote myself some notes so I could explain it properly. It's a polymer grout, and it's been used in Europe for a long time. It's even been used in the United States. And it calls for a high-density structural polymer to be injected into the voids and cracks. It goes into the pipe, it seeks out the voids and cracks around the piping and the laterals, flows and encases it, encompasses it, and seals it. And this goes 4 feet into the lateral. This will be ejected from the service connection and into the lateral. It'll go 4 feet into the lateral. And the bulk of the I&I problems are always at the connection. So it'll go 4 feet beyond that, which would reduce significantly the homeowner's problem of the I&I. And if it's beyond the 4 feet, then there's a major problem. We can always go back and cut that out and line it. But it's just a way that I'm trying to help out the homeowner. Now, I asked Weston Sampson to roughly put a cost savings on this. What would be the difference from going in, ripping it out from the homeowner and lining it? And I want to read their comments. As discussed today, we will include building service testing and grout sealing in the rehabilitation contract in documents in lieu of CIPP, which is cured in place pipelining, as recommended in the ACOM report. This will provide you with a number of advantages which you are aware of. One, the service grouting will seal the connection between the main and the service line up to 4 feet into the lateral, which typically is where a good amount of the leaks occur. This reduces the cost of approximately $674,900 in the ACOM report to $50,000 for this item, resulting in a cost savings of $625,000. If you line the service connection, which is what ACOM was initially proposing, if you line the service connection, you will not be able to line that main in the future and have a tight connection at the main service connection to the lateral. With the service grouting, you could still go in later in the future if necessary and line the pipe. The contract documents will have a 1-year warranty where the contract will need to inspect the services to ensure the work was performed correctly. That means it'll go back a year later, camera it, look at it. Now, one thing I wanted to point out when I was doing my digging, this was done, one example I found was done in St. Petersburg, Florida. They're experiencing a severe I&I from saltwater erosion of the pipes. They stopped most of the I&I, which was estimated at 168,000 gallons a day. It stopped most of the problem by sealing 30 300 feet of 8-inch pipe associated with the manholes and laterals. They went back and they said their costs were fully recovered by the reduction in pumping costs. 10 years later, they went back and inspected the work, and they found 5% of minor leaks in the 3 worst areas. So this is one of the things I forwarded them to look at. They were aware of it, but they were bidding on strictly what AECOM went by. So I said,
Okay.
think out of the box.
Yeah.
So
So
they,
has this process been done anywhere in New England?
I don't know if it's been done in New England. They're researching. I think they have done it. AECOM's done it. Like I said, this conversation, I wasn't familiar with it enough to bring it up until yesterday. I did some reading on it, and I kept getting deeper and deeper into it. And then I'm looking at the costs of lining a pipe. Then I'm looking at going onto the homeowner's property.
Right.
So then I bounced it off of Weston Sampson, and they said, yeah, it can be done. It has been done. So that again is one of the reasons why I'd like them to come in and explain it more. This is for $625,000 savings. It's worth investigating, and if it can take the burden off the homeowners, that's even better. But one thing I want to point out is that looking at that SSES report from AECOM, I don't think they hit on all the lateral problems in town. I mean, I'm going to send the past I&I reports to Weston and Sampson to review as well. And again, the I&I is going to fluctuate with the water table, so we may say, okay, yesterday they found 50,000 gallons of I&I. We could go back there 2 weeks and only find 10,000.
Yes.
So that's why I think the more and more I get into this grouting just makes more of an attractive sense. And if we're going to say 625,000, that leaves it wide open to other.
Problems.
We could do another big SSES study and find more.
Right.
So again, I think this is another good reason to have them in and explain it to
How
us.
fast is this epoxy dry grout?
Then I don't know. I know they do not have to seal off the pipe for a whole day. So I imagine it's probably an 8-hour cure time, 10-hour cure time. And again, when you're looking at a lateral is not a high pressure
No.
situation. So it may even cure quicker, but it just, I mean, I don't want to just take, I guess it's like a machinist or a doctor. You know, you can have a problem, and you're going to solve that problem. You get 5 doctors in a room, you're going to get 5 different opinions.
Yes.
You know, but eventually that problem is solved. The best thing to do is get all those opinions and kind of pick out which is the most cost effective and beneficial to us. And AECOM reported it, say, here's what we do. They came out with a recommendation, how to solve it, and that's what went out to bid. We didn't have, let's face it, we didn't have the luxury of time to really get into it and do some serious reading. My era, I should have went back when that report was issued back in September and got into it deeper. I didn't do it. You know, again, I'm just one set of eyes, but the more I'm looking at the money, the more I'm looking at going into private property. You want the private property, that's a problem for you, me, and everyone else as a landowner, property owner. It also brings in legal fees, because you need legal document to get access to that property. With that legal document becomes liabilities. This, you're not on their property, you're ejecting it in, you're helping them out. And if it works, great.
If it doesn't, you're screwed.
No, you're not screwed. If it doesn't work, then you know what? You got a major problem, and you should report it as the homeowner.
Yeah.
It's your obligation to report it. So
Well, it sounds like a fantastic solution.
I just thought
make sure
it's-
there's a little more due diligence on it.
yeah, I think we got to do more. And like I said, this all came up in conversation with Frank yesterday. So
Let's see what they have to say.
again, I think it's more reason for him to come in and talk to us. Hopefully, I want to get Rick in here. Legal matters. We do have the right to transfer funds if we want to add more funds to our legal bill. My concern now is with this EPA, there seems to be a lot of things, people putting their irons in the fire. As long as it's controlled by the sewer department, the sewer board of commissioners, That's no problem at all, but I think it would still behoove us to leave our options open legally. So, with that, the refund letter to Primrose, I did not send you out a draft. Basically, I said to them what you recommended, that there was an error in the calculations for their fees, and based on a motion by the Board of Commissioners, we voted approval to, their connection fees were based on the motion passed June 16th, unanimous 3-0, that the fees will be based on the fee schedule that was applicable at the time. Again, for clarification, the fees that they were finally quoted did not exist. Our fees are published on the website. The fees that they were quoted did not exist, so we wanted to keep everything fair and square. So Robin has that letter.
Right.
You guys can proofread it, and we'll sign it before we leave today. And that will go out with the refund, and that will close the Primrose chapter of our lives.
Sounds good.
With that, Sherry, I'm gonna turn it over to you for accounting, and if you would also, go over with the accounting, if you could, the communication with Jen, the constable, on the, Green Communities Act.
So for the accounting itself, I don't see much change. Couple of bills paid, I'll check with Robin to see, if they're posted correctly, but nothing looks out of the ordinary. I'll tell you that it appears that the accounting department is still running a bit behind. She received an August expense detail, but it doesn't look like they've transferred over funding from the previous sheet, so Scott's explained the accounting to me. They take last year's excess from the articles and transfer it into this year's spreadsheet, and I don't see that yet. I did ask Scott, I sent him an email and asked if the new accounts for I&I and development fees have been set up, and I have not heard back yet.
So you don't know if those fees, accounts have been set up?
I do not. I know it was on his to-do list, he's fully aware of them. Don't expect a problem, but I haven't got confirmation.
Do you have an email from him that we could read into the record, that he hasn't,
No, that was in conversation, so I should get a response from this email, and then we can put that.
okay, if you could get that in writing to find
That's
out
what
what,
I'm waiting for, yep.
okay, because ask him if you could.
I asked
we
him
would
if
like
the
a
accounts were
response.
set up, and I gave him the figures that I expected to see in those accounts.
Okay, and if you could reply in email so we have documentation.
That's exactly why I did it. So, we received a Green Communities grant for a heating plant pump replacement, and I reached out to Jen to find out what the next steps were and explained that we had signed this contract, and she informed me that the board does not sign the contract. The town manages the whole project. She said the town, not the sewer department nor the commissioners, administer the Green Communities grant, and the grant includes both programmatic and fiscal aspects of the grant. So when work is due to begin, Jen will connect the representative from Guardian Energy with our plants representative, Veolia. So I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure what the intent or how this is supposed to work operationally.
I don't either. Why don't you bring her, see if she will come in?
So
Because-
I asked her to attend today, and she was unable to attend. So I'm going to give her a call to discuss a mutually convenient meeting.
Okay, ask her if she could appear at the October 20th meeting.
For the
Monthly meeting on
monthly
October, Thursday
evening?
night, October 20th. We'll put her on the agenda.
Okay.
What I would like to have explained why, how if the sewer department is independent for them and we get the grant, why isn't it that we just send them the supporting documentation, the bills, the copy of the contract, et cetera? What is their involvement in managing the project?
Right, this is what I'm trying to get to, operationally, how does this work, who's doing what, and,
Because I'm gonna
And
be
I'm not getting
open,
a
very
clear
open on
picture
this,
on
what
this.
I don't want to see happen is them get involved in the EPA I&I removal. Is it up to the sewer department, sewer commission, sewer department to initiate that work and follow through?
so what I would expect on this green communities is that we just send, as you said, send her the bill?
We'll
or
send her all the documentation,
whatever
project
documentation
updates that she
needs.
wants,
Yeah,
but that's as far as I think their management is involved in. As
That's
long
what
as
I
we are
think.
doing the work. and
we do the work and they do the money,
Right.
that's what I see it.
Right,
But
and we're supplying them,
we
okay,
need-
here's the bills. Here's what
Right.
we've done, here's the detail of the bill, what we did to
Yeah.
comply with that grant. Why is there double management?
Right,
Okay, and the state,
so,
I
yeah.
recommend
she
explain
needs-
it.
Yeah, if she could just explain it to us, I think it would make things much more clear.
And if she could also
because-
provide literature explaining how that is managed, where it is documented, that's how the management process flows. Again, I would do this in email so we have documentation.
I'm gonna have to phone to get a convenient meeting date.
I would
But
like
everything else is
I would
fine.
like her to do it at a public meeting.
Well, yeah, it would be if we're all here.
I think, might as well, you do it out in the open.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna see if I can grab Rick to come in for a
Yeah,
minute.
right.
I'm up. Okay.
Welcome back to our working session meeting, and we have the lovely Rick to
Good
talk to
morning.
us.
Good morning. All right, so I guess, Chuck, what are we looking for?
Okay, what I would like to do, first of all, what do you know on the digester, piping, yada yada?
Okay, digester piping. So I received an email from, I believe, from Hallam. And Hallam is coming out to the facility next week, actually. It is, let's see the DMR, let's see. They're coming out, it's right here. Okay, so the email stated, was from, like I said, Hallam. They have the signed contract, so they will be out, it says, they received the signed proposal from the town moving forward with the gas piping replacement design. And they will be getting down to the plant next week, October 12th to October 14th. So that's when they should come down here. I believe they're gonna start looking at start the actual designing, and then once they get that, then it can go out to bid. And from what I'm talking to Hallam, I believe they're gonna put the bid scope out. They're gonna put it out.
How is that gonna affect you in operations if it's done in the winter?
So what they, as part of the project, they're going to have a rental here. So they're gonna have a rental boiler while they're demoing the existing boiler and putting in the new boiler. So all that's supposed to start next week,
Okay.
actually the 12th, yeah.
But that's not gonna tie your hands in anywhere, as long as you're,
No,
okay.
as long as I have that rental, I told them already, I mean, I would have preferred to do it early in the summer,
Yeah.
but the rental should definitely
Yeah,
help.
let's not wait, let's
No,
just get
I
done.
wanna get it done. All right, what was the other question you had asked?
Nifty's. You received some correspondence
Yes.
from Nifty's.
So I received some correspondence from let's see, Michelle, I don't know, Despivia, I'm not sure. She's with the EPA wastewater permit section. She sent me this out. It was basically what it is. The town, they issued the final issuance of the NIPD's general permit number for the Rockland wastewater treatment plant. So you recall back on, actually it was February 1st of this year, we got the final NIPD's permit, EPA NIPD's permit. So now you have a general permit, and I had sent her some questions. I'm still waiting for some answers back from her. This was supposed to actually take effect on November 1st. She said to me it's probably going to be about 3 months before we see the official permit when we have to actually have to come in compliance.
That's 23.
Right, 2020. I have this funny feeling they're gonna coincide it with the final effluent meter, special testing that we have to now do E. coli. So
Yeah.
that's my gut feeling that they're gonna start it we'll be seeing this new perk. There's some good things about it. They're gonna actually reduce some of the sampling frequency of it, so that should help me in staffing. So as far as like.
Would be the frequency.
Like, for example, there's some things that, for example, pH, chlorine, I have to do daily, every day. I've seen the new permit.
Okay, but you're just talking for different parameters,
Yeah.
you're not talking about,
No, they're not gonna change them. It's identical to the actual EPA one that we recently received in February. It's just, it looks like the Mass DEP's reducing some of the frequency.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's actually nice for us because right now I have to have 2 guys come in on the weekends, one to do lab. And I'm looking at it, I probably won't need the lab guy. So I'll only need the one person to come in here, you know, so that'll help us, that'll help me free up my schedule and
all right, while you're on that, does that affect our working contract between Veolia and Rockland? Do we have to modify the language about coverage, so we don't?
no, I don't believe so.
No, it just says
Yeah.
cut 2 people on weekends.
Yes, yeah, I think,
How you use
yeah,
it, it
yeah,
doesn't
so if
matter.
it says, realistically, I think we only need
But
one.
there's no language in there about lab coverage, no, I don't think there is.
No, there is
No,
not.
you're golden.
Yeah, there is not. Let's see, what else? So I was just, the reason I was late, I was just meeting with gentleman from New England Generator. We had talked before about our main plant generator had some issues, so we used a outside contractor to kind of give us can you please look at it, to give us the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. And the report came back and it was really ugly.
Yeah. Well, first of all, tell everyone how old that generator is.
It will be approaching 40 years in, let's see, probably 2024.
And for the record, they do not make a lot of parts for that
They
generator.
They know. That's one of our biggest issues right now is parts availability. I had this company who actually services generators within the town of Rockland school system. So they're well known in the area. We've tried to get, right now we're in dire needs of a water pump. First of all, they can't find a water pump.
For the generator.
Yeah, and I used another company prior, they seemed to found a water pump, and we all know what a water pump is. He gave me an estimate just for the part of $15,000 for a water pump.
Okay, but now, if that generator goes down, tell them what happens.
We have some backup pumps, but we would back up. There's no question. We couldn't do it on a full. We'd have to run the staff full time. We'd be out of compliance.
Okay, that's
Pretty
all
much
I wanted you to say.
Pretty much the minute we.
No. Okay, now give us the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Okay, so talking to him just now, I had seen some quotes, some rough quotes at one time. We're talking about $500,000, right? And I'm like, okay. It's not official yet. Not official. He told me just right now, putting it in, we talked about where we'd like to put the unit, pouring a pad, electrical, the whole 9 yards. He just said to me, I can't see it being any higher than 250.
Really?
I think that's an unbelievable.
That is, I don't believe
But
it.
I need to see it.
I want to see it in writing.
In writing. But, I mean, I don't know, I mean, you've talked to me, Chuck, about, things that have, issues here at the facility. We've talked about the
Yeah.
mixers in the back as being 1 and 1A, and the generator could be 1B, but I really feel that
If
the
you could
board
get that
needs-
at that price.
board really needs to look at this, rather quickly.
Yeah, I completely agree with him. I mean, that,
Yeah.
like he
It's
said,
still a large sum of money. I don't know where the monies would come from, but it's, it's just, I don't know how long we can wait on it. They have one right now that's being almost ready to be built. He said they could almost have it here in, it's crazy, November. If we waited, they really build another one and it'll be a year out.
yeah.
So we could wait a year out, no question about it, and build it out that way. But they do have one readily available to move right now. But the funding, and he understands, he works with the town.
No, I
Yeah.
would get that quote in writing. As far as jumping, I would say that if you're comfortable with the waiting, we wait and put it in a plan, see where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Which while I'm talking about, you and I have got to sit down with about a 5-year plan for Wright Pierce, what our priorities
Yeah.
would be, so we
Yeah.
can do that.
This one would definitely, because it's a quick fix.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, we have to rip the whole the plant apart.
Are you building a building around there, or
It's gonna be actually outside.
it's gonna be
Yeah, outside. We actually talked about, it's gonna be, probably gonna take about 3 feet of our parking lot, but it's the cheapest way to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, when I go for quotes for the town, I look for the, you know, it's like, yeah, if I want all the bells and whistles, you know, throw this, but I think, I know it would, you know, get us over this problem of a backup generator.
Okay, here's where my permit is, click in. If we put it in another building that's considered a new stack,
Yep,
are we subject to air emissions?
you would be.
We would.
With the current system, I don't know the technical of it, but he was explaining to me. Goes
Okay.
outside, there's no air permitting because of the way they're built.
Hold it, there's no air permit.
No air permitting.
That's all I care, because if, per the EPA, if you have a stack, you've gotta report all emissions from the stack. We're grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Because we're so old. Once he puts a new stack in, that grandfather clause goes away, and that means air conditioners, methane, everything.
Everything.
So if that's golden, I'd
Yeah,
wanna
he
see
said
that.
if we were to
right.
take the one out of the building, put it in the building, you're talking another $100,000. I mean, to me, that's a waste of money.
Yeah,
Can I ask you a question? You have to run that special fluid with it too, the diesel?
It's a number 2, it's a number 2 fuel, low sulfur. So we have right now we have a existing oil tank, 2,000 gallon oil tank. This particular unit, it's a Kohler, 500 kW, would come with its own holding tank.
Yes.
And so we would actually eliminate that particular underground storage tank out there. It's actually 1,700 gallons capacity. The one we currently have is 2,000.
that's a plus, getting rid of an underground tank.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, and the thing is, with that, we probably would get about, if we lost power in the town completely, we could probably get 4 days. That's, 96 hours.
Now, would they berm that building, or berm that generator, so for any leakage, potential leakage, put a berm
It's,
on
it's
it?
got, well, I'm not, yeah, it's what did he say? It's a tank, it's a double wall tank. So
But
the
we
actual
still not have
generator
an
will,
external
yeah,
berm?
the generator, I believe, will sit right on top of the new tank.
Well, yes. So the tank will be right here.
Correct.
And the diesel will mount right up. We've been doing it since the 50s
All right.
with trailers.
Right. And then, like I said, I think one of the things, when he told me about that, I'm like, ooh,
I'm shocked at the
that
price.
underground storage tank would be,
Yeah, that's a huge plus.
so there's.
Well, by rights, you have to have that tank removed anyway by next year, don't you?
Which one?
The
one-
underground tank.
So we have 3 currently right now at the facility. We have an 8,000 gallon tank that we took off. It's what the DP considers, it's not abandoned, it's out of service. What happened was we removed our oil tank, oil furnace, and we put in 2 gas burners, so we no longer need oil. So this tank, I believe it's gonna be November of 2023, but I'm waiting for the Dependable Petroleum to get back to me on the actual date, because it's on the actual state's website, when the town has to have that tank out. But I know we're getting close to that.
I think it is next year. I
Getting very
think it
close.
is next year.
So that's gonna
Or
have,
24.
that's gonna have to be removed from the pavement.
So, gas stations are under the same
Yep,
rule.
Whatever they do, run a double tank.
yep. This one's the current double tank, but like I said, the big thing right now is the date's fast approaching. We have to get that one out.
They have a monitoring system on them now.
There is. We have, actually, like I said earlier, we have a company called Dependable Petroleum out of, I believe, Plymouth, and they run the whole program. We sub it out to them. So they're responsible for everything.
You saw Veolia's
I did.
response to me, you on top of everything, you guys got it?
Yep, there were some things that were assigned to me, and with the additional gas piping design, and what I just went over, the installation, and so they actually have me work on that. And when Helen comes out next week, hopefully we'll have some better concrete time.
What I mentioned earlier, that Weston Sampson is gonna be coming in next Thursday at 2.
Okay.
If you can,
Yep.
they're gonna go over all the stuff, the contracts we have out. I think it'd
Okay.
just be good
I'll be
to
here.
have you in a little. Oh, was that for you said you were going on a seminar?
That's the following week.
All right.
So we're on next week.
Well, sir.
Okay.
How you doing otherwise? Do you need anything from
No,
us? or
everything's
Head
going
above
well.
water?
No, everything's going well. I mean, the flow's starting to pick up a little bit, because obviously we've gotten some significant rain.
Oh.
But I think last month's flow was 1.8. I'm not sure what the rolling average was, I didn't look at the sheet.
That'll still drop.
Yeah, well, but again, when you have those 3.0s, it takes a long time to get those off, to get them off the rolling averages.
How are you doing stepwise? You got, it should be 100%.
Yeah, so I just recently hired Veolia just sent out an offer letter to a new operator, and doesn't have a license, but again, as part of the O&M contract, as you're well
Yep.
aware, of 2019, he will have 18 months to get a grade 3M. And I'm very confident with the staff that I have here on site, with their knowledge, with the training materials that we have, not only here on site, but through Veolia, that's it's a moot point.
How's things going with the switch over from Suez to Veolia? You seen any?
No, very good. It's it was such a large, and they're taking it in pieces.
You haven't seen any drop, or you don't foresee any drop in service, or?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. If
You
anything,
wouldn't say any.
no. If anything else, as you know, with these the gentlemen you've been speaking to, we've
Yeah,
spoken
no, I
to.
think
I mean,
you're right.
we've added those guys to the team, and they're a wealth of knowledge. So no, I think we're in very good shape right now.
Nothing else mechanically you can think of?
No, nothing going on. No major. Like I said, big things right now is the. I do have the digester, the final effluent meter. I just received that last week. The contractor will be coming in the week of the 24th. I just did a dig safe today, and I'm hoping the town is going to help us out in digging the trench. And I'm hoping if not 1st of November, that new effluent flow meter will be up and running. So that's also part of the new NIPD's permit, that we have to be in compliance with that by actually February 1st, so we're ahead of the game.
Well, just so everyone's aware of, this is typically when he starts seeing his higher flows, October through April.
Yep.
So everyone keep their fingers crossed.
Yep, when we start getting all the extra rain, potential tropical storms and hurricanes and all that good stuff.
Did you lose power last night? We did.
We did.
Yeah, I lost
Yep.
it down here.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was only for like a blip, only for like 10, 15 minutes.
Couple minutes,
Yeah,
yeah.
but unfortunately, when we lose things here, because a lot of the equipment's antiquated, we have to have a gentleman.
Come in and reset.
Yeah, we have to come in and reset things manually.
Does it automatically retrip?
No.
I mean, the power comes back. That's not, but we gotta go to different buildings, hit this button, reset this,
You
reset
can go to
that.
all the pump stations?
Yeah, that's my.
Yeah, fortunately with the SCADA system, we can pull it up and see this, and the only thing we have to do when we get to the pump station, we have to physically go out there and reset the alarm, but I can see it, and it was 1:30 this morning, I was literally on my phone going through each pump station, and I seen that they had power. I was looking at the wet well level, so I knew they were up and running, but on the SCADA screen it said in alarm. But in fact, I knew they were running, so I can make it easier where I can roll and go back to bed.
I don't wanna hang you up, and
Yes.
if you don't have the time to answer, don't worry about it.
Sure.
Down the street here, Lydia Square, how's that station doing?
So that's called butternut.
Butternut, yeah.
Yeah, so we had an injector station, and I believe the price was like around $88,000, I think, to rehab it. So far, so good. I mean, we used to get a lot of call-outs
Yeah.
on that particular station. It's been very successful, and I'm hoping that next year at this time, I'm talking with the board and we have Spruce Street done.
Yeah, the reason I mentioned butternut is on a really high water table.
Yes.
Really high water.
Yes.
So that's.
And we have noticed the flow has gone up since the Lydia Square. I think they kind of moved the water table.
Yes,
a little bit.
it's gonna settle, and it's gonna go somewhere.
Yeah.
And again, I mentioned before you get on, you even now see cracks starting to form on their foundations.
So prior to the, now we actually have flow meters, so we can actually read it and record it. Prior to that, it was strictly at the ejector station. There was no way to record the actual flow. So it's kind of good that we're going to be able to monitor that now with actual flow, so we can see how much flow is coming from the butternut during the summer season versus the winter season. And
That'd be interesting, yeah.
It will.
Laughs and giggles would be interesting.
yeah, no, absolutely.
How are you set for everything else? Do you need anything from the board? Is there anything we do to help you out?
No, I think I'm very good right now.
So with no superintendent, you keeping your head above water.
We are doing the best we can, yes.
All right.
We are.
Thanks for everything, Rick.
All right,
I mean,
thank you.
Thank you.
Like I said, I'll give
Thanks.
you a report once I get the, for the generator.
Yeah, I'd like
I
to see
said, I
that.
think it's,
They had a generator where I used to work, V12 Cummins,
yeah,
scrapped it.
I know.
Okay,
I mean,
with
they
that,
didn't need it, you know.
Yeah, I know. All
What do
right,
you
thank
have for, thanks Rick, what do you have for, that you'd like to discuss at the next meeting? We're gonna have Weston Sampson, and that should take up a full hour. And we have a meeting that night, so. If you have any items that you wanna put on for the agenda for the evening meeting of the 20th, where the public is welcome to speak, I'd like to have that done. You're gonna see if Jennifer can,
Yes, I will let you know if Jen's able to join us that night.
and if you can get something in writing from Scott on our account, so we can read that into the record.
Yep.
Okay, that'll take a motion to end the meeting.
Make a motion.
Hold on, before we do
Oh,
that, for
sorry.
next week's working session, that's the
Uh,
11th on Tuesday?
I'm gonna change that to the 20th for, Weston Sampson, or do you wanna keep it on the 11th? To get through some other items. This one I'll leave up to you. I'm thinking of not tying up your time all week.
Yeah, I don't have a lot.
Okay, so we'll hold that meeting off, I'll put that down for, the next working session will be, next Thursday, the is it the 20th? No,
Next Thursday is the 13th.
the 13th, my birthday. Next Thursday, the 13th at 2 o'clock, Weston Sampson will be here to go over our existing contracts. Just so we have, if you have questions,
Yes.
jot them down and ask them. Make sure you're comfortable with the response. In closing, what I'm gonna do is send a copy of that email to Chris Kenny this afternoon, telling the state that, we're working on it. Telling the E-Feds, not the state, the feds, who are working on the issues, and the bid will be a week or two late. But again, I'm very confident we're gonna meet our deadlines. With that said, take a motion in the meeting.
Motion.
Second,
All in favor, Mr. DeRoss?
Aye.
Ms. Valley?
yes.
And Ms. Cashin, yes, it's unanimous. Thank you very much for attending today.